All right, Horsemen Academy for June. Of course, less chaotic than the big show. And the reason why we're doing that today is because I got a real special guest with you all. So let me explain something. Y'all know on Instagram about a month ago, I asked for coffee recommendations and none of y'all helped me out. Nobody gave me anything good. Now I understand that we don't drink a lot of coffee sometimes, but I was working on it. Y'all should have helped me out. Now I'm sitting around just drinking black coffee every day. It is disgusting, but I love it at this point. But today I have someone who is really going to put me up on some game. Not only are they innovative in the space, but also they are changing the landscape of people like me who will try coffee. So Adam, please introduce yourself to the audience.
What's up, everybody? I'm Adam von Rothfelder. I'm a glorified barista, man. Before there was a lot more before coffee, but I am the CEO of Strong Coffee. I'm the creator, the founder. It was a soulpreneur, game for me for the, first, 2 years. It really wasn't until, Caleb here came on about a little over 2 years ago till I felt like I had, even a partner in crime of sense, partner in caffeinating.
Yeah.
So it's been an incredible journey and I'm just excited to be on the show and, maybe put you on some coffee game. And,
No, we need to know it. We got to get to know you too. So we're going to get to know you first before we jump into the business and all that good stuff. So one, you definitely, what sport or mixed martial, what do you do outside of this? You definitely do something. What is it?
Yeah. So I mean, good call.
Come on, man. You can look at someone and tell that they've done something either athletic or still doing it. So
yeah. So I'm 42, so I'm a little past my competitive stages in my life. But growing up, I was a soccer player.
Okay.
I played collegiately. I left school early on, seeing that my brother was struggling with drugs, and I started working for him doing construction.
Okay.
And through a tragedy of losing him, I jumped into the world of fighting at 22 years old, and I fought my first amateur fight just weeks after I lost my brother.
Man, so you had some motivation behind that jumped you into now what's different, you went to something violent, from soccer, not necessarily a violent sport. It has some moments where it can get a little aggressive, but you jumped into something violent after that, and condolences, of course, for that tragedy with your brother.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. Fighting can seem violent from the outside, but in some way it's a cooperative dance that requires someone to bleed and lose and someone to win and triumph, right? Yeah. And it's like eventually the person that's leading the dance wins.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And for me, fighting was a way to feel.
Okay.
I didn't feel, certain things that I was taught or said that I should feel because of losing my brother. Right? Like I didn't have these, destroyed feelings because a lot of me rationalized the idea of like, this was bound to happen because of like all these different things. And there's nothing that I can change about it. But what I can do in this moment is use this as a launching pad to something that I always said I was going to do. And if I don't do it, perhaps I don't wake up tomorrow.
Man, and so you were taking the approach of controlling what you could control.
Yeah, man. I grew up always believing that I could have been an incredible fighter. I did some martial arts when I was younger, and I was really good. I was
what discipline?
Taekwondo and karate.
Okay.
But I was like the white belt that would be beating the red belts.
Wow. Okay.
Right, in sparring.
Yeah.
I was just faster. I liked working out, so I applied different things to it where those guys were just doing karate.
Okay.
Just Taekwondo. They would like make fun of me for doing 100 push-ups, after practice because all that muscle slowing me down. Or I'm like, dude, you got tagged how many times today by me? Like, so they always saw it their way and I saw it my way. I always thought just a little differently. Being somebody who was diagnosed ADHD and, this and that, you just kind of, you know, people say it's a problem, but I say it's, you know, the solution, right? Because it gives you so many ideas and creative ways that if you could just grab one of them, hold on to it, and have the discipline to follow through, you could be extremely dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I became extremely dangerous as a fighter very fast, where, you know, I went from, you know, a couple of amateur kickboxing to fighting a 7-1 pro fighter, you know, on short notice, to becoming a pro, you know, less than a year after starting like the journey of saying like, I'm going to jump in a cage. And within, you know, 2 years, having one of the top coaches in the world want to be my corner.
Wow.
You know, and I loved what I did, but like getting back to the point of, I did it because it felt like I could make somebody feel what I was feeling. And at the same time, they could help me feel something and bond at the same time. And that's what happens. Like, you do beat the shit out of each other, but you're not mad at each other.
No.
You're picking them up off the ground. You're hugging them. You're hoping they're okay. And then actually after you beat their ass, they become your friend.
Yeah.
Right? There's like this common respect. And I felt like more so than ever after losing my brother that I needed that.
Understand. No. And that's a controlled environment too. One thing that I've always preached is I wish more men, and I'm going to use men, would engage in a fight every so often. Because what it also does, it'll show you what's capable as well as men. Because you don't always leave with anger. Sometimes you leave with mutual respect. Mm-hmm. And in a cage, you know, in your instance, you're saying, hey, we're fighting each other, we're beating the shit out of each other. But at the same time, we knew there was a common goal for us to leave out of here healthy. Yeah. Leave out of here alive. Leave out of this space where we were engaged in combat, but at the same time, it was a positive experience. And then we get to entertain people also. Who doesn't like to watch a fight?
Yeah, man. I mean, you know? And I loved it. I loved the rush. I mean, believe me, I was the guy that my teammates would have to pick me up because I would get so nervous the day of that I'd be talking about not fighting. Oh man, I don't think I'm ready. I don't think I'm ready. Like, dude, if you got any more ready,
you were too ready. Yeah,
you're too ready.
Yeah.
You should have fought yesterday. You know, you know, they get me to the fight. And, you know, you warm up for like hours, you know, because you got to stay hot. You're not going to fight till 10 o'clock. And there's thousands of people out there. And if, say, 3 fights go fast, all of a sudden you're fighting an hour earlier than you thought. Yep. So it was always an incredible time. Sometimes I wish I could have gotten more fights in. I chose my fights far apart, and because I had a full-time job, I was a union electrician.
Okay.
So I was trying to be smart about it. I was like, let me get that much better before my next one. Let me get that much better before my next one. And then I had a career-ending injury, and it just was not worth it anymore. I was having conversations with other big name pros, and they're like, bro, I walk around with 2 partially torn hip labrums, like, you know, this in my shoulder.
I got
like
2 ruptured quad tendons right now.
Yeah.
I've had multiples from not, you know, MMA or anything like that, but just athletics in general.
Yeah.
You know, you get hurt, football, basketball injuries, things like that, where people don't understand when you're 42, 43.
Yeah.
Sometimes getting out of bed, you're like, damn. Like, you know, how did I end up being, like when I'm 21, I could jump up, do anything without stretching, do anything without moving. It's a difficult thing. Yeah. So I could only imagine like now.
Yeah, dude, I mean, I was just telling my wife that she was like saying her ankle hurt. And I was like, that's funny. I'm like, I literally roll my ankles for 5 minutes before I get out of bed in the morning.
Yeah.
I sit there and like pump the brakes.
I do this.
I circle. Man,
that is
if
crazy.
My ankles didn't crack 22 times, I ain't getting out of bed yet. Like, I am not going to step down, hear a pop and drop.
Yeah. And I don't think people get that. Like when you beat up your body some, I don't think people understand like the back end of what it looks like now.
Oh,
and I could imagine like some of your healthy habits, and we're going to talk about your company here in one moment, have been able to extend some of your ability to do things you want to do. Like you probably changed some things, added some things to your life, obviously strong coffee being a way, because one interesting video that you all have, you're driving to the grocery store and you say, I want to show you everything that it would take to have this in the morning.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. Like to even conceptualize that this, and this can all be in one product to support you over your lifetime. That's an interesting thing. So let's talk about maybe lessons you learned from being in fighting, pro fighting, that you may take to your entrepreneurship journey now.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly is, you know, and my fighting, you know, then led into a training career where I learned from my injuries, I learned from my lessons, and I was always really into the science of
Okay.
performance, like from a very young age, like 12 years old, I was the guy reading books about, you know, the zone diet,
Oh wow.
right? Like I had friends asking me, like, they thought it was weird that I was reading diet books at like 13, 14 years
And
old.
we're the same age. I would have thought you was weird too.
Yeah,
I just,
yeah, no,
like, yo, what are you doing?
it was kind of weird.
Yeah.
So I mean, there was two things that kind of prompted it. I had a cousin who was a bodybuilder.
Okay.
And I got mono when I was in 7th or 8th grade.
Did you miss the whole semester?
I missed like I missed like 2-3 weeks of school.
Yeah, yeah.
And my parents had to leave town for like 2 days, and they didn't want me to be alone. So my cousin Tony came down. It was kind of like at the end of me being sick. He's like, "There's a local gym around here." I was like, "Yeah, I have a membership." And I was already into working out. I started lifting weights like 5 days a week when I was 12.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And Tony's like, "Let's go to the gym." And he like showed me a whole bodybuilding routine, showed me how much food I was supposed to eat, you know, and he was a meathead. So, I mean, he only had like a basic understanding, but like, it was like bodybuilding basic understanding, which is far enough to get you jacked.
Oh yeah, yeah, no doubt.
Right?
Yeah.
So
I
it's not-
power lifted and bodybuilded before. I was 200 pounds at 10.
Okay.
So I know.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
I was 99 pounds. So
Yeah, I was right at 200 at 10.
I was like, I need to get muscle fast as possible. So there was that. And then I have a little brother who's paralyzed, and he, you know, we adopted him when I was 12, and I'm the baby of the family. And, you know, the baby of the family of 4 with 2 busy parents kind of gets like a little bit of the short end of the stick because they're exhausted from being parents, right? Like they've worked for how many years? My brother was 22, so they've been parents for, you know, 22, you know, like he was 13 years older than me. So it's like all these years. And so Danye had a nurse, and he had 2 nurses, and both of them were entrepreneurs. One was a firefighter and a nurse and a real estate guy. And one guy was a nurse and owned a carpet cleaning business. And they both saw me like into fitness. I had like a barbell in my bedroom, a Reebok stair stepper, and I'd like tilt it upward against my bed to do like incline bench and like all this stuff. I stole it from my sister. And they both kind of brought me magazines, like stacks of magazines, like Iron Man and Flex. And I'm like reading this stuff at like 13 years old, like cover to cover. And I just wanted to so badly, not only just look the part, but be the part. Like I wanted to jump through the roof, right? Like I wanted to like, you know, my brother, we were watching White Man Can't Jump, and he, you know, and I'd be like, is that true? You know, like, you know, and so I was like,
so you went and got strength shoes? Don't tell me you didn't get
fuck yeah, I had them strength shoes.
So that's why your ankles hurt now.
Man, well,
what were you doing?
But you know, I was the dude who could jump through the roof.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I mean, by the time I was 21 years old, I had a 38 inch vertical.
So you made it a point that, okay, so we're gonna do some backtrack.
Pause.
So
hard pause.
You made it a point. From watching White Men Can't Jump, which is a great movie, by the way. Wesley Snipes, Willie Harrelson, great job. One of my favorite movies, by the way.
100%. When they remade it, I was very upset.
When he lost all the money, not being able to dunk at the end of the movie, which was kind of a setup. You know, Wesley Snipes was playing him, and then they rebet, and he lost his money again. You determined at that point you were going to stand on your shield for white men and be able to dunk.
I'm putting it down. I'm putting it down
at that point. So, okay. Now, did you hoop in your days too? Play basketball also, or just was jumping?
I played a little basketball, but I was not. I had no technical foundation. I was
athlete.
I would rebound over guys that were, you know, 5-6 inches a foot taller than me. Cause like my jump was quicker. Cause I didn't bend my knees. I like learned how to, you know,
you were doing some crazy stuff.
Yeah, like I learned how to pop. Right.
Yeah.
And I, you know, so I could do that, but like after that, it was just like quick feet, hands, really long arms, so I could play defense. But like traditionally, I was a soccer player, which soccer players translate so well into other sports not the dribbling hand function shooting,
Footwork.
but the footwork
Yeah.
and the follow.
Yeah.
Right. Like we're taught to shadow people and stay on goal sides of them. So like we know what side to even stand on when they're holding the ball, instead of like basketball players will stand right behind somebody
course.
and it's like the hoop's this way for them.
Yeah.
But like, why are you standing right to his center versus like the right, force him to the left, and like cut him off.
Yeah.
And that's like what you're taught in soccer. And that like transferred into fighting and all that. But yeah, I mean, I stood on it. Like I went hard and I really wanted us to perform. And I mean, I went all the way to the point where, do you remember Adam Archuleta?
Yeah.
So I actually ended up training with his training staff.
Nice.
Later on as a fighter.
Okay.
Because I wanted to get 3 more inches. I was like stuck at 36. My deadlift was crazy. Like my bench was not where it should have been. And I got on that whole ARP wave where they're like shocking you and lifting. And now I actually have one of those units in my house.
Do you think they're worth it?
For what it does on a rehabilitative.
Okay.
Because I'm not thinking about the performance level on that matter anymore.
Okay.
But rehabilitative, they're absolutely incredible machine. The ARP wave is old technology. There's now a machine called the Newbie.
Okay.
Which the energy is really clean. So you don't get like a burn.
Yeah, because some of those were burning people.
Yeah, no, they'd straight up burn you. I'd have burn marks like
on your
hickeys.
legs. Yeah,
yeah, like ARP hickeys all
chest,
over me.
Yep. I've seen those before. So that's what feared me from doing anything like that.
Yeah, but it worked.
Okay,
I mean, I would be deadlifting a broomstick only.
Yeah.
And just dying.
Yeah. Because at that point, it's shocking the muscle so much so much.
All of a sudden I go up to a 500-pound deadlift and it felt like a paperweight.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, I haven't lifted in 2 months other than a broomstick.
But activating those muscles, though, people don't realize is a part of the process. You need to be doing that all day anyway.
Totally.
Like if we could just get people to move, that would solve a lot of the problems that we have in America. But that's a
that's a big deal. I mean, all of my training, all of like my modality diving, whether it was like the bodybuilding era that I had, the powerlifting era, all the different sports performance eras that I had, it all came down to when I walked away from all of that movement was the most important thing.
Of course.
And nothing has ever made me feel better than a 2-hour walk.
I agree. And I tell people, if you can just walk every day for 10 minutes, just to get started, and then go to 20 minutes, then go to 30, you'll just see dramatic results in your mood and your health, just in the way that you activate. And I would imagine that all of your athletic performance, all of your training, all of your, specificity in trying to learn how to do all that has probably led you to the product that you've been working on now.
Yeah, I mean, very much in a way. So I mentioned that ADHD, right? So I was put on Ritalin very young.
Okay.
And I wanted to get off of it. And I was reading an article about caffeine and L-theanine being combined. And I'm like, coffee, right? So started taking L-theanine capsules and cracking them in coffee cups sometime around, 12 to 14. I can't really remember. Okay. I had a morning paper route. And, my dad would stop at a gas station and we get like 2 donuts and a cup of coffee and I get a milk. But one day I decided to get a cappuccino.
Okay.
And I put some L-theanine in it and I felt awesome. And when I first got off of Adderall, I was like failing everything.
Okay.
And I could not focus. And that caffeine before school, all of a sudden, like my first 3 hours of the day, I just felt great.
Like I said, I wish we were talking a bit before we got started. Our brown brothers and sisters, we just got to caffeine probably in the last 20 years. I'm going to tell you a funny story. I remember Shaq saying this. Shaq had an opportunity to buy into Starbucks. And he told them, black people don't drink coffee. And you gave me a stat that kind of leads that less than 20% of us, 13% are still engaged. And I'm a testament to that because I literally started drinking coffee a month ago. Now, our white brothers and sisters, y'all should have told us this a long time ago. Why were y'all gatekeeping coffee? What was going on? Why were y'all doing that? What was going on?
Man, I don't know. I have tried to turn all my brothers onto some coffee in my days. One of my funniest stories about getting a dude to drink coffee for the first time, Leon Ezubike.
Okay.
He was a big captain of like Temple and turned pro boxer. He was a football player, big dude. I can't remember what position, but like 6'5", 300 pound,
Okay.
6'6", 300 pound kind of guy. And we were on a TV show together, and we were actually like hardcore rivals. The show was Strong on NBC.
Okay.
And there were two black dudes on the show, and I'm great friends with both of them, Benny Wiley and Leon Ezubike. And but when I got on the show, there was this moment when I won the first competition, and Leon and Benny were clearly the most physically intimidating individuals on the show.
Okay.
Like if I had to be worried about anybody, it's these two guys.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so it came time to like pick who was going to go to the elimination tower to try to fight for their ability to stay.
Okay.
And I pulled the Leon card. And all of a sudden I was like, fuck, man. Like, man, they almost had me in tears. Like they made me feel a certain way. And I was like, damn, like, no, it's not like that. I'm literally afraid of you two. Like, you guys are fucking massive. Like, you're fast as fuck and you're big as fuck, right? So later on, we became really good friends. He actually got to come back on the show to try to get back on the show after being eliminated. I mean, he was eyeballing me so hard. And I was trying to tell them all, like, I'm not competing in this round. Like, I fractured my tibia, and they thought I was, like, pulling their chain. And
damn, okay.
They thought I was, like, trying to play the reality TV
So you were
game.
hurt for real?
I was hurt for real.
Yeah. Okay.
And so about, like, 3 months later, I'm hanging out with Leon. I'm now just like, we're friends. I'm kicking at his gym. I moved to LA, and he's letting me train clients out of his gym. And I was like, hey, dude, I'm going to go get a cup of coffee. You want to go get one? And it was like a special kind of coffee. It had all these like similar ingredients, not all these ingredients. Okay. It had the MCT oil and had collagen.
Yeah.
So we went and got this cup of coffee, and Leon, within 15 minutes, starts acting like a 10-year-old that just learned parkour. And this motherfucker was running, jumping, and giggling. And he goes, this is how you feel on coffee?
That's what I'm saying. I felt the same way.
He's like, I can't believe this is my first. I'm like, this is your, I just tripped out on the idea. So, I mean, to be said, I have not been the one gatekeeping, guys.
Yeah, you have. I think we could have brought the country together if y'all would have just told us about coffee. Like we would have had no problems right now. We would have just all been able to drink coffee together. I think we could have solved the country's issues.
Yes.
And we are doing this right now. I'm a little offended
over a cup of coffee.
A lot. Most of it is golf, coffee.
Yeah.
But you was gatekeeping this until now. So we need to know what is going on that makes this such a special product.
So I mean, coffee is it's it is a natural ingredient, right? So that being said, it has its flaws in certain ways, as it can cause, because of caffeine, can cause anxiety, jitters, maybe a crash for some people. Well, caffeine actually, breaks down into 3 different metabolites in the body. So two of those metabolites are really good for you. One of them has like that little jittery, shaky thing. Well, with science, we can eliminate that.
Okay.
So we can use certain amino acids like L-theanine, which is something that I started using at a really young age to help me with cognitive focus and, relaxing my state while also still feeling alert, right? Not tired, right? And then adding adaptogens, which help your body fight stress.
Okay.
So cortisol is a problem for everybody, specifically even more so men.
Yeah.
Right? If you pour coffee on somebody that already has a high cortisol, anxious type personality, and maybe they're not a good caffeine metabolizer, they're not going to feel good on it.
Okay.
Right? But with our coffee, you can get all the positives, because the positives outweigh the negatives by 1,000 times.
Okay.
76% of all of our antioxidants in America are consumed through coffee.
I didn't realize that.
So that's one. It's like coffee does offer a benefit for endurance. Like it can do a lot of different things. But when paired with these incredible ingredients, like the adaptogens, like the nootropics help with cognitive function, right? So instead of just being alert, your brain actually is working better.
Interesting. So you're saying that, a lot of people would use like a pre-workout or that has maybe some of the similar ingredients.
Right.
But I don't think that's probably a clean or this seems like a more natural way to do it versus what we would get in like a pre-workout. Like, you know, I've probably been raw dogging life, y'all. I'm figuring that out. Like hearing him talk, like I've been raw dogging life all this time, but you're saying that there's ways to even cut the jitterness cause I get that from coffee.
Yeah.
That's why even in this month that I've been trying to do things, I'm just on black coffee and that's it.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Yeah. Well, coffee is kind of like a kick the door in and like surprise.
Yeah.
Right. And it fucking runs around.
It does.
And you kind of feel good, then you don't feel good, then you feel weird. Then like we can chaperone that coffee. Coffee bean comes from a berry.
Okay.
Right. And that coffee bean, if we were to look at like mother and baby, like maternal like relationships, the mother has the knowledge.
Okay.
It has the control. The baby has the energy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The mother controls the baby.
Yeah.
Right. So the berry that bean is in has been thrown away for thousands of years. Literally the name is to cast away, cascara.
Okay.
Right. So we take the pulp from that berry that they would otherwise throw away, which is the most potent source of polyphenols on the planet. And those polyphenols are what get into your brain and elevate a certain protein inside your brain, a neural protein, right? Not a muscle protein, a neural protein that makes learning new things easier.
Wow. Okay.
If we have low amounts of that neural protein in our brain, we are more susceptible to neurodegenerative diseases.
Like dementia,
Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So when you look at our numbers in the United States, people with Alzheimer's, it's in the 40%, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a 40% likelihood
that you can get it.
If you're in India, it's like 6%.
Wow.
And it's like, well, the difference between the two regions is that the people in India, their BDNF, brain-derived neurotropic factors, that neuroprotein, was substantially higher. And it's like, why? Well, if I was to ask you, what are 80% of all the vegetables, let's even say 90% of all the vegetables we eat in America, what color are they?
Green.
Okay. So that's a problem. We're only getting one color that's in the rainbow.
Okay.
We're not getting the yellow. We're not getting the red. Like Dr. Giuseppe talked about this all the time with like even curing like AIDS. I didn't know if we could say it because like, I didn't want you guys to like YouTube kind of like, but yeah. So, and those things are evident within so much culture.
So from that research, I started doing moringa.
Oh, moringa's amazing.
Sea moss, bladderwick, I think it is.
You gotta be careful with sea moss with plastics.
Okay.
Yeah, just to, and metals. Just
no, that's good. Let me know because from me doing my own. Okay, let me source what.
Yeah, just make sure that it's like sourced in a certain region.
place. Okay, yeah.
And really deep because that's like the deep water.
Hearing you say that lets me know that I can tell that you haven't just boilerplated something off the shelf. You have engineered this.
Oh yeah.
You've taken your time to put in things.
This is number 33 of the reiteration.
Wow.
To the original formula.
33 times
in 5 years.
What? Okay, so let's talk about the first iteration. What? As you started saying, okay, this works. This needs to change. How did you get to each one iteration?
Yeah. So I mean, the first product was our latte. This one right here.
Okay.
And it has 15 grams of collagen protein.
Yeah.
It has 5 grams of MCTs.
Yep.
So it has a certain type of fat that instantly just bypasses your liver and it goes right to your brain. So you kind of can start to create ketones, which is like a great way to power your brain's energy. It can also reduce inflammation in the body. There's like other.
Now, some people do get a little nervous about ketosis.
Well, this isn't ketosis, right? So I don't believe in ketogenic diets.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, some people
I
get
don't
nervous with that.
Yeah, I'm not a ketogenic. If you actually follow a true ketogenic format, there's not enough protein to support muscle mass.
Gotcha.
And you can like look at like amino acid foraging, which is what they kind of lean into, but there's nobody that does like true ketosis in that nature, that low of protein, who's supporting muscle mass and activity.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So when I started the first one, it was like, okay, it's got to have organic coffee. It has to have 15 grams of protein. Why 15? Well, because everybody else has got 10 or 11.
Yeah.
A Kind bar has 8 and a cup of coffee has this and ours together would be that. It's like the equivalent of 2 eggs. I was just kind of like looking at all these numbers that exist in our current breakfast reality.
Yeah.
Because what I wanted to do is I wanted to create coffee that was breakfast.
Okay.
right? Because effectively breakfast is it's not a meal. It's not a time of day. It's an action, right? You're breaking your fast. And when you break your fast, you don't want to just break it with black coffee, right? Because you don't have, there's no fats to go along with it. So the caffeine's going to hit you super hard. It's going to be acidic on your stomach.
That might be my problem.
It could cause like esophageal or like GERD, you know, different things like that. So having collagen and the coconut oil changes the pH balance of the coffee. And we already use a higher pH coffee. So it has like a brighter, lighter note to it. So the first reiteration, the sweetener, we only use stevia. And it was like, blah, right? But it was good enough that we had hundreds of customers that kept buying it. But when I think back to how it tasted, it was rough, but it was like unlike anything that anybody ever had. So it was hard to compare it. And we didn't give it a flavor name because of that. We called it Morning Fix. And it was like Red Bull. Like, what does it taste like? It tastes like Red Bull. Like, it's like there's no defining property. Like, oh, it's cherry notes. And so when we had like time release caffeine, you know, like different things. But when I dove deeper into the ingredients, I realized that time release caffeine was coated with a hydrogenated oil. And I was furious because it wasn't on the spec sheets of the information that I was sent originally. So I'm like, okay, we can't keep that product anymore. We have to like do something different. And we just kept on reiterating after the actives is what it's called. Like the active ingredients were what I wanted it to be. Then it came down to flavor. Right. And mixability. And packaging changes. Just like all driven by customer feedback, surveys, serving in person. So getting out there. A lot of people today, they see people get rich quick on the internet, right? The thing is a lot of that is like a smoke screen, right? They're trying to sell you something on the idea that they're getting rich quick. Right? So if they were so rich, why would they be selling a program to make more money at $1,000? Like, you know what I mean? Like there's like, it's counterintuitive. So ultimately it really came down to us just getting in front of people, not just doing it online, but IRL. Like when COVID happened, I bought an AT&T work van. I stripped it out, built it out to live out of. Took my wife and my 2 kids and traveled across the country and served coffee at people's outdoor events that were willing to do what needed to be done for like our economy and everything to just keep moving. And if it wasn't for like that resilience, you know, and that strength, because that's what it stands for, right? Strong could be like strong, but that's simple. Right? It's striving to reach our natural greatness.
I like that.
It's this idea that we have a goal, a pursuit in mind. We're striving for it. And all of us need the same 2 things to get there: energy and time. And just hearing you talk today, this is our first interaction, you know, meeting some of your team also. I could tell that you all are not only passionate behind the product, but passionate behind your work with the product as well. Like it almost feels like a life's mission that you want to get this out to people. Because if you strip down and lived in a van, trust me, I watch a lot of people on YouTube who live in vans or live in, that's tough. That is tough life. And this van wasn't overly special. I mean, it had like nice wood floors and walls and stuff.
Taking showers in LA Fitness and 24-hour. Like I know what you was doing.
Straight up.
I know what you was doing. So the fact that you were able to make that commitment lets me, you have a supporter in me. You're going to have a supporter in our audience as well. I can tell you that now. Because we have people who are connoisseurs of coffee and are looking for different ways to engage with the brand.
But we're a small family company.
Oh, yeah.
If you were to see us on social media and see our website and touch our product and taste it, you would think we are a 20-person company.
Gotcha.
Every person that I've ever said that we have 4 employees for our company, they're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, who do I talk to with customer service? My wife. Right? So we are our superpower as a company is creativity. And we have done highly creative things to get ourselves out of situations. I mean, 18 months ago, Whole Foods canceled a $1.2 million purchase order on us, and we were set with $600,000 in debt.
Yeah.
And they took zero responsibility for it.
Of course.
Right. And it took, 2,000 miles of driving, living out of our van for 2 weeks, me and Caleb, taking a nap on a beach and having one of those aha moments and just being like, I know what we can do. And flipping the company around and all of a sudden almost doubling revenue. Right. And setting ourselves up this year where we said no to certain things that we always would say yes to. And we said no because we're like, we put in the work, like we put in the time. Like we're not like some first year rookie. We're 5 years deep.
Yeah, you've got like, you're established now.
If you don't, if this community that we've put everything into doesn't recognize our value, we're going to show them it.
Yeah.
And that led to us now being like the official coffee of the CrossFit Games.
Congratulations.
That has led to us getting nationally launched into Sprouts with a deal that actually makes sense, right? Like we got a collab coming out with Mike, the rapper Mike Stud. Just Mike.
Yeah.
We're doing a flavor with him, a cinnamon toast cereal latte, and that's kind of like what we're working on right now. We were just with Dr. Gabrielle Lyon, this incredible physician here in Houston that just moved here from New York, who works with all Navy SEAL operators and stuff, and launching flavors with her. And we use creativity to excel beyond other people's dollar. It's like, culture trumps, culture eats strategy for breakfast.
Without question.
Right.
And in size of your organization, who cares? We know it is much more difficult to turn a ship than it is to turn a sailboat.
Yes.
So you all can be nimble. You all can move. You all can adjust to the market in real times. That's what will matter in the new marketplace. The old marketplace was large conglomerates buying up all the space, buying up all the shelf space. It's difficult to get stuff on shelves.
It is.
I know how it is to get a product on a shelf.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's expensive real estate for a Sprouts.
I mean, we pulled out of, ultimately, we ended up leaving Whole Foods. They didn't, we saw brands like Vital Proteins competing against us lose before we lost.
I could imagine. Yeah.
Right? We were still there.
Yeah.
Because people saw it and they were like, what's this? And they pick it up and they're like, damn.
Yeah.
That's all in here.
Yeah.
And I mean, we chose because when they were like, oh, we need you to spend X dollars in marketing. I'm like,
nope, we're not doing that.
Not doing it.
Yeah.
I'm like, you should just be happy that we're selling 100K a month.
Yeah.
And just let that be it, and let us grow organically. But you just want to force the needle.
Yep.
And I just, pumping all that dollars into marketing when it's like I could just put it into the culture and get in front of people. And that's why we're on this road trip. That's
no, and I appreciate y'all giving us some time today.
Oh, dude.
That adds a lot of value to us, and I hope we'll be able to extend that value back to you. So I do have a few closing questions before we wrap. Who are your competitors? So there's one that I think I know.
Oh, you tell me who my competitors are.
Is Rebel Coffee a competitor?
No, but funny enough, they actually wanted to buy us.
That's why I'm because if I look, so I did my research before y'all came.
Yeah.
Rebel Coffee has a different, but the MCT oil, things like that, all of that's in there. But theirs is more of a cold product. You're buying it out of, convenience stores. Yours is something that's more of a brew, it seems like.
Yep.
So they wanted to buy you probably because they saw you could take some of their market share.
Well, they also, the same company that owns them owns Chameleon Coffee.
Oh, okay. That was going to be my next one. Okay.
So what they saw is they weren't even looking for it, but they saw it.
Got it.
And, it wasn't a strong enough offer.
Okay.
I would have had a good job working with good people and maybe add $1 million to my name, but that wasn't what I was looking for.
Yeah. I
don't want to diminish $1 million.
No. I know what you're saying. Yeah. There's levels to that.
Yeah. If I'm not walking out with at least 5.5 in my name after taxes, it ain't even a situation. I have always said, I'll get personal for 1 second here. I have always said that I never wanted to point my finger at another entrepreneur playing the game.
Gotcha. No,
right?
That makes sense. That makes sense.
I have always wanted to just focus on taking 1% of Starbucks business. That's $100 million.
I got you. Yeah.
Right? But that being said, I personally had an interaction recently with an individual who started a company at a gym who I had to tell to get the fuck out of my face.
Are you serious?
Oh, no. I am playing. He was commenting shit on our ads, and he owns Everyday Dose, and the dude's a total jag.
Are you serious?
Oh, dude. So,
wow.
Wait, what do you say about Savage? It's a cloud, so is that what it is?
This guy's a savage. His real name
Yeah, this guy's a savage. His real name's Clout. So he changed his last name to Jack Savage. And I don't think that's a name you could give yourself.
I don't think
Anyways,
you can. Yeah,
but
you should not make your own nickname.
So apparently, I didn't know this, but we are his competition.
Wow.
He's my competition, but we're irrelevant.
He's your North Star.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, not really. I don't want to be anything like the company, right?
But they're bigger than you all right now, though.
For sure. Yeah. But our goal is to support people that are outdoing greatness.
I like that. So, first off, you're a great politician, too, because I watched you try to put those words together. That was solid. Not even gonna lie. So, I would say that that's not real competition of yours.
No.
It's more your competition is yourself and Starbucks.
Totally.
Yeah.
What he did, what he shouldn't have done is he put a face to my competition.
Which makes sense. Yeah.
And me being somebody who likes to beat people up for money.
You're a competitor.
For my, in the sense, I am now, my goal is to beat you up.
Agreed.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I always was shooting high.
Yeah.
And didn't realize that low was in the cards.
Yeah.
But like now these days, like I'm like, all right, like we're going to step this level up to a whole new level. I mean, he put me on a point where I sat in front of Illustrator for probably 6 days, revamping all of Amazon, like doing everything, like making it to a whole nother level. Cause I'm like, yo, this guy's got a team and has raised tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck that. Like I can beat him with $1 million.
Yeah. So what's next for you all? What's the next 5 years?
So, we have these great collabs with our lattes. We have some really cool coffee products that we're coming out with. We're not trying to cannibalize like what we're doing with our current stuff, but we feel like there are certain people that are underserved in the coffee category that have maybe specific needs that we really want to hit on and get into those niches. Those are the things that we're doing.
Okay.
Because it needs to get out there.
Yeah.
Right. And we don't have the money to sit there and buy our customers like these other people do and snake them in
no doubt.
to subscriptions that they just can't figure out how to cancel.
Yeah.
Our goal is to sell you because you love it. And the value, and when you place a value on it, like you found it at a market, or you're at a sports event, you're at a rodeo, a barbecue that we go to, like whatever, we're sitting there selling it for $7 for a latte, $5 for a cup of black. And then people come back after drinking 2 or 3 and buy a bag for $33.
Yeah.
And because it's like they're hooked.
Yeah.
And I don't say that in a bad way. I say it because like now I at least got you drinking good coffee.
Agreed.
Right?
So tell the people where they can find you and all that good stuff. Thank you for giving us some time, y'all.
You can find us at strongcoffeecompany.com. We're on Amazon. We're at Central Market, soon to be on Sprouts shelves in August. If you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth, come visit us at the CrossFit Games, August 8th through the 11th. We're dropping the Rodeo Club.
Nice.
We got a whole clothing drop. This, kind of setting up this like nightclub vibe, like inside. We just dropped a couple of music videos.
Okay.
Caffeine Cowboys.
I see the hat.
The Strong Boys. So you check us out on Instagram at Strong Coffee Company. Remember, the company is important because it's the people you keep.
Yeah.
And check us out on TikTok. We're trying to build that up. So if you got TikTok, get on there and like us 7 times.
We'll definitely collab with you all on a few things. I'm sure our audience will resonate with this. SLP, this is Horsemen Academy. We out.